box, Patriots and Redcoats from Green Feet Games. Now from that cover, are we going to get a Revolutionary War game? Well, the first part's correct. This is dealing with the Revolutionary War somewhat. This isn't a war game. This is a social deduction or hidden traitor type game. What am I talking about? This is supposed to be a war games channel predominantly. What are these words that are coming out of my mouth? Well, social deduction games go back to, they go back a long way, but one of the more popular social deduction games, and one of the first ones that I ever played, was Werewolf. And we used to play that every Christmas and Thanksgiving as kind of a family game. Yes, nothing says Christmas like Werewolf. But so you have, Werewolf. This is One Night Werewolf, which is a little bit different. And it was also called, some people played it as Mafia. Werewolf and Mafia are some of the two common versions of it, but there are several versions of that now. But it's basically a situation where you're going to have it's great for large groups or party type games, and you'll have numerous people. A good number is 7+. The more the merrier. But you'll have a majority of that group will be, like in Werewolf, they're townsfolk, but then you're going to have a certain number of werewolves. And during the night, people close their eyes, and then the werewolves pick off someone from the town. And then everybody wakes up, and then they have a huge debate and start applying their social deduction and trying to figure out who are the werewolves. And then they eliminate one of the people from the town, accusing them of being a werewolf, and then that person will reveal whether they're a werewolf or a townsfolk. And if the werewolves can ever get the townsfolk down to an equal number of werewolves, they win the game. If the townfolks can eliminate all the werewolves from their presence, they win the game. That's the basic game. Now, what makes Werewolf interesting is they start adding in a whole bunch of different roles to it. And that can do different things, that can spy on the werewolves during the night and figure out, know who they are, but they can't, say who they are, or if they say who they are, then the werewolves will go after them. There's all kinds of different shenanigans that can happen. Now, Mafia is very similar. It's just that it's a different theme. It's the Mafia theme, and you're trying to go after the Godfather, and there are certain people that are that are going to be, traitors or hidden traitors or not. When I talk about hidden traitors, one of the first hidden traitor games that I ever played was Shadows over Camelot. And you don't have to play with a hidden traitor, but this game is a regular board game, Euro game, but one variant is that you have a traitor aspect where you don't know if you have a traitor or not. The cards are shuffled up, and then someone possibly is the traitor, possibly not, but if they are the traitor, they win by kind of foiling the attempts of everybody else. They win when everybody else loses. And that concept has been put into other games like, Battlestar Galactica, and the reboot of that is Unfathomable. So there's a lot of games that use that hidden traitor type approach. Now taking, the Werewolf and Mafia concept and the hidden traitor concept, there was a game that came out on social deduction, kind of a party game again, called The Resistance, where you're basically going on missions, and somebody, there's somebody who's going, depending on the number of people that you're playing with, there's going to be a certain number of people that are going to be hidden traitors. They're going to be trying to foil your attempts to accomplish missions. And the interesting thing with Resistance, it took away the need for a moderator that you have, like in Werewolf and Mafia. You don't need a moderator in here. There's a system of picking a leader, and the leader picks people to be on the mission, and there's a secret vote or a vote that is revealed on who's going to try to succeed in the mission. And if you win a certain number of missions, then the rebels in this case win. But if you don't, if you fail a certain number of missions, then the other forces, the hidden traitors or whatever, they win. And that's been moved into other different realms, like One Night Revolution, and which One Night Revolution kind of feels like One Night Werewolf. But you also have Avalon. Avalon is basically a reboot of Resistance, but it does it in Camelot. What's going on with the whole Camelot theme here? So all those games there are now kind of put into this game, but this game is not a fantasy context. We're not in Camelot anymore. It doesn't have werewolves. It doesn't have capos or mafia types, or set in the the dystopian future like the Resistance. This is set in history. This is set in the Revolutionary War period, American Revolutionary War. So look at the back of the box here. You've got the bluffing. Take that hidden identity card game about the Revolutionary War. In Patriots and Redcoats, the players take on the roles of the Americans fighting to win the independence and the British fighting to stop the rebellion. Watch out. There are spies and turncoats among you, and the war, by its nature, can take on the character of its own. It's for 8 and up, 4 to 10 players, and plays in 15 to 25 minutes. That's one thing about these games that are, like the Resistance and Avalon and Werewolf and Mafia. They don't take very long. I mean, well, especially the Resistance and One Night Revolution and Avalon, there's a certain set number of missions, and so there is a little bit of back and forth, but as long as you put kind of a cap on how long it takes people to vote or to say yay or nay whether they pick their vote, their secret vote for whether they win the mission or not, the games go relatively quick. Werewolf and Mafia can be as long as there are a number of people. The more people you have, it gets a little bit longer, and the more back and forth and the debate among the townsfolk can go on for a while, so you need to put kind of a time limit on that. This one is more in the Resistance Avalon frame, so it's going to be a little bit quicker to get to. You're doing a certain number of missions or what have you in this, and so it's a little bit more set. So if you like those social deduction games, or if you are interested, based on what I said, hopefully I haven't scared you away, but if you're interested in those kind of games, but you don't really want the sci-fi or fantasy theme, well, this is a historical theme. So let's get in the box here and see what we have. I don't know if I had started this or not. There we go. And this is basically a card game, but it's going to be what you bring to the table with your interaction. So it's got a magnetic little flap there. That's kind of cool. So you open it up here, and you've got your cards, okay? You've got a standee there, stand of some sort, a little plastic stand. You've got your rule book. You've got a circular wooden token there. You've got your board. We'll take a look at that. Then you have some, they're falling out. You've got some counters. Hey, it's not a game about history or war without counters. So you've got, look at that, war on cue. So you've got these little pull out, they poke out pretty nice, and they're decent thickness there. So you've got these war counters, Patriot victory, and war. Okay, so we've got those. Here is your board that you're going to be playing with here. Decent thickness there. And you advance if War Council is not elected, and then draw a war card. So you're going to probably be moving this token along this track here. This is the war track. Here's the war deck, and here's the war discard. You've got victory. Okay, and you've got British at the top, and the Patriots, or the Redcoats at the top, and the Patriots at the bottom. So there we go there. Put that there. So let's look at the cards here. Well, let's look at the rules first. How about that? See what we got going on here. So you've got a 16-page rule book. And these back section here is a glossary of terms. It talks a little bit about the history, and it's got some of the separate cards in here. There are spies in this game, and some of the things that's interesting here is they really do go in the history. Like there's a card for Agent 355. That was if I remember correctly, that was a female or lady spy, and so top secret that they never mentioned her name. She was only referred to as Agent 355. So interesting stuff. I only really started getting into, I was a big American Civil War, and then World War II, and really did not get into the American Revolutionary War until much later in my gaming and wargaming career. Um, but and when I got into it, it's more getting into the battles and the leaders. The whole spy aspect was very interesting. There's a spy aspect to every military conflict, but a lot of times you don't get into that aspect. There's not a lot of games on it, or there's not a lot of attention given to it in a lot of the war games that we play. World War II games might go into spying a little bit more, but the Civil War doesn't get into it, even though there was a certain amount of that, especially since it was the War of Brothers, and then the American Revolutionary War had quite a bit as well too. So 16 pages. You've got your introduction, overview, goal. You got a list of your components here. This is glossy. It's a little bit reduced size here. There's my hand. Don't have a huge hand, but so it's not very big board there. You've got your setup. You've got determine the first commander. So this is probably going to be somewhat similar to the Resistance or Avalon, and how it's going to probably play out. You're going to have a commander. You're going to prepare decks. You're going to look at loyalty cards. I think this does play a little bit different in that I think you have like 3 cards in front of you, and the cards you have in front of you are you have them face down, and whatever the majority is, like if you have 2 Patriots, then you're going to be a Patriot. If you have 2 Redcoats, then you're going to be a Redcoat. But those cards could change during the game, so you might switch your loyalty. But the whole point of the game is to try to keep those secret. And if I believe this is the case, that if all 3 of those are ever revealed, then you're out of the game. So there is some player elimination in this game, which Avalon and Resistance really didn't have player elimination. Werewolf and Mafia, of course, had player elimination. That was kind of the whole point of the game. But those 2, Resistance and Avalon, didn't have player elimination. So this one looks like it's combining both some of the mission aspects of Avalon and Resistance with the player elimination that you had in the the original Werewolf, so to speak. So there's an app for this too. I might have to check out the app. Then you've got how to play, and there's going to be a council phase. That's kind of like in Werewolf. That was the the voting play, or the town folks voting the next morning, and then of course in Avalon and Resistance, it was there was a council there, or like a deciding who's going to go on the mission type situation. So you got Spycraft is phase 1, council phase is phase 2, and then here's the Spycraft cards. There's some iconography here, and you've got some council cards. Wow, look at that. Look at all those little circles there. Kind of jumps out at you. Here's the explanation of some of the cards. Like here's reverse, skip next turn, draw 2 cards. Winter is coming. Oh, wow, we're getting some Game of Thrones here. And, of course, they're probably talking about Valley Forge, when the Patriots had to hold up for the winter. Here's your leaders. Here's assassination. And then here's a glossary of turncoat, then a glossary of terms. So not a ton of rules here. So like 14 pages of rules. So not a ton there. And if you've had any familiarity with these other games that I mentioned, this is probably a piece of cake to pick up. So probably not too hard to figure that out. Golly, I can't get these good plastic. There we go. So decent quality cards. They're not super, they're not super thick, but they're decent. Decent, and they're kind of sturdy. They're not rolling up. So let's see what we got. Different backs here. Here's Spycraft. So there's different Spycraft cards. Then there's loyalty cards. These are the cards I think you. Then more Spycraft cards. Then loyalty cards. So the loyalty is going to be whether you're a Patriot or a Redcoat. And I think part of there's another aspect of this game where you're trying to find the leaders. You're trying to, that's another way you can win. I think you can win with winning a certain amount of missions or battles. Don't know haven't looked into what that's called yet. Or you can knock off the other side's leader. So there's the commander. Okay, that maybe is going to denote who gets to pick missions or draw cards or something like that. So here are the cards. You got Redcoats, you got Patriots. So if you have 2 of those, 2 Redcoats, you're a Redcoat, or in 2 Patriots, you're a Patriot. Then there's the Patriot leader, George Washington, of course. Let's see who they picked for. There's a Turncoat, Redcoat Spy. Let's see who they picked for the leader for is there a leader in here? I must have missed him. He must be in this stack here. Did I miss some loyalty in here? Just assuming that it was all Spycraft. That might be the case. Huh. There we go. There's a loyalty card. That's a Turncoat. So there's some, there's some more loyalty. Missed a whole swath of them there. See what we get in here. Redcoat, Redcoat, Patriot, Patriot, Patriot Spy. Man, there must be more. Must be, I think. The Redcoats need a leader, right? They have to have a leader. I think I know who it is. Take your votes now before I turn these over. Redcoat, Redcoat, Patriot, Patriot, and King George III, of course. Gotta have King George. Especially if anybody's watched Hamilton. Key figure there. All right, so these are the cards, and so there's going to be leaders as well. I think if you draw a leader, you're probably going to be, even if you have two Patriots, you'll probably still be a Redcoat. But anyway, I'll get into that as I get into the rules. So there you have it. I might look at this, and this is kind of hard to do in after action because this is more of a party game. This is more of a group game, more of a social. It definitely is a social deduction game. It's all about the interaction, right? You're going to have, who you are, and you're trying to accomplish something for if you're the Patriots, you're trying to accomplish something for the Patriots and protect your leader. And the people that are on the other side are trying to do that, but you don't want anybody to know who you are. And that's where the social deduction comes in, trying to guess based on how people are doing things or what they're saying, trying to get some social cues on who's who. That's easy for you to say. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. I thought this is a little bit different. You know me, I'm always coming up with something different. I like the good old traditional war games. I like the new advancements and innovations in war games. And I also like stuff that is kind of war game adjacent or history adjacent in games like this, of course. So this is Patriots and Redcoats. If you have a group of people, that's war gamers. Usually we have a hard time finding just one person to play with. This is, you need to have a group. You need to have, 4 to 10 on there? 4 to 10 players. So you're going to need to have a group of people because this, and really 4 is kind of small in something like this. This is, again, these kind of games tend to be the more the merrier to really get the full experience. I can just tell you from experience, my games of, Resistance, we used to have people over all the time and just do a whole, group of that. They were memorable. I mean, that's some of the loudest and accusatorial and laughing sessions that we ever had in a game. So again, it takes the right kind of people on these kind of games. But, they're well worth it if you do get the right people and get that right experience. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Patriots and Redcoats. If you're interested in social deduction, but you want to have a little bit of history along with it, then this very well might be your game. Love to hear your thoughts and comments on this. Please just let me know you stopped by. And as always, thank you for stopping by. Greatly appreciate it. You can spend your time, which is very, very valuable in many ways and on many different channels, stopping by on mine for any amount of time is just greatly appreciated. It just it's humbling and it's just amazing to me sometimes. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And hey, have a good one. Thanks for watching.